And also to bring back a point, that the storyline Confused Matthew presents is certainly a valid storyline concerning Hal getting nervous and Hal making mistakes and all that. But it's not, it should be pointed out that's not the only interpretation of that bit. There are some people who have interpreted it as Hal as kind of a secret agent. I read one thing where there's a bit where Hal, I read an interpretation where Hal they said Hal was like the only one in on the actual conspiracy.
That's right.
And the only one actually in the bit about the monolith by Jupiter, and the whole point was to get Hal there, and the humans didn't matter, and Hal was going to take over. I don't necessarily agree with that interpretation, but it is another interpretation, which goes back to a point we made earlier about the fact that, according to Confused Matthew, different interpretations means everybody's wrong. And that includes Confused Matthew, because his interpretation doesn't match other interpretations. And the only thing Confused Matthew can say about that kind of issue is, listen to me carefully and don't listen to anyone else. That's a direct quote from his review. And which again goes to Confused Matthew calling it objective authority, which he just does not have. One more issue, well, maybe there'll be more after this, but one issue I wanted to cover was Confused Matthew. All through the review, he sort of created a us versus themism. He labeled people who like 2001: A Space Odyssey as Kubrick lovers, Kubrickites, which kind of created a themisms.
Well, for one, I strongly admire Kubrick as a director, but I by no means like I do not like everything he's done. Say, I don't particularly like Clockwork Orange, and I hate to say this again, but Doctor Strangelove is probably one of the, well, it's not a bad movie. Well, it's not a bad movie, but it's not a very good movie.
You're not fanatic about it.
No. It's not a bad movie, but it's very, very lame social commentary. Well, the commentary doesn't really work for me, and most of the jokes don't work. So it's not a bad movie, but it's bad social commentary and it's bad humor in my mind. That's only my opinion, and well, it's just as right as any positive opinion for the movie. Say, you seemed, you addressed the fact that, well, the impression of Matthew as holding the belief that differing interpretations mean that everyone is wrong. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, their own analysis of a movie or text. In which case, I suppose everyone's right. But yeah, well, I like Kubrick, but I'm not a Kubrick lover. I can criticize. Exactly. I can love 2001 and criticize other movies of his.
Sure, and same here. I don't particularly care for Barry Lyndon.
Okay.
And I don't feel any urge to rewatch Full Metal Jacket.
What about Lolita?
I haven't seen Lolita. So I wouldn't call myself a Kubrickite either. It's just, it's an unfortunate tactic. I don't know if Confused Matthew intended it this way, and I tend to think he didn't, but it's what he did anyway.
Yeah.
is his creating a us versus themism. It's, you're either on my side or you're on the side of the Kubrick fanatics. And that is just a really horrible tactic that I just appall.
Yes.
Personally.
Well, I suppose the term vilifies may be too strong, but he I suppose, well, he is disparaging fans of Kubrick, and, well, essentially, he is I suppose he is devaluing or attacking the fan base. Yes, for Kubrick films. In which case, I suppose it with the effect, if not the intention, of as you said, well, driving people away from what may be depicted by Matthew as, well, a misguided group.
Exactly.